Anyway, I'm really bad at plotting to kill people.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, presented by CinemaSins.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, a weekly look at everything going on inside the world of CinemaSins. I'm Aaron Dyster, and I'm joined as always by Jonathan Watkins.
Hello, hello.
And Danae Hughes. What's up? We write for CinemaSins and TV Sins and do various other things inside the CinemaSins universe as well. Various and sundried other things happen within the universe. Do you think people realize all the stuff that goes on, like behind the scenes? I mean, that's kind of what this podcast is about, is, kind of bringing some of that to light. But
I've seen people guess what goes on behind the scenes. Very wrong.
Yes.
But it's only...
Now the orgy thing was true. That's the
only true thing. That's the only true one.
Chris, Bear, and Jeremy are very open.
We tend to say that most people are interested in the entertainment part of what we do,
right.
And so we keep it to like the fun stuff. But I don't think that most people would realize the amount of work that goes into doing what we do.
It's a lot some weeks. Like it is.
I do know
most
though
weeks.
that, as I've mentioned, like project management and spreadsheets and things like that, that we have had some interest in those kinds of conversations. And so I don't know, maybe we'll do like a bonus episode of all things admin, and then those of us who are like office nerds will like super love it.
It's very organizational, right? Like I think of a lot of the things that I do with the TV Sins channel or with the membership at Patreon. There's a lot of organizational, check it off the list, task-oriented stuff, just like you would assume any business or any operation has to have that kind of stuff. It doesn't seem interesting to me to talk about, but it's definitely covered under the various other things category.
I love when on Twitter there's always, like, whenever there's like a thread going around about, some YouTube channel having issues or just YouTube pissing people off, the algorithms, whatever it is. You'll always have someone, at least one or two people will be like, good, maybe now you'll get a real job. And I'm just always like, why don't you come do this job and tell me about it? Because I've worked those 9-to-5ers, and I'm not complaining because I love this job, but I do a lot more work here than I ever did.
Yeah.
In what you're calling a quote unquote real job.
I will take the more work here over the less work there every day of the week. And I think that speaks to something I think we've talked about before, about the idea of when you find something you love doing, it's like the hardest you've ever worked, but the least it's ever felt like work. Mm-hmm. And I think that's true of most of what we do. So yeah, I think that's fair to say it that way.
Well, and not only YouTubers, I mean, journalists get this type of crap thrown at them too. I see a lot of critics get attacked about this. And I mean, I can't even imagine having to watch 12 screeners in a day and writing like 7 articles on them and getting paid like next to nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's just, they do that because they love it. Mm-hmm. And they're choosing that life because they want it. It's not like but it's okay to have some compassion.
The first thing I tell anybody who asks me about what is it like to be a movie critic? What is it, I want to be a movie critic. How do I get there? And the first thing I tell them is, you better do this because you would do it without getting paid. Because if you think it's something like you're pursuing a career that is full of money and admiration and those kind of things, like even access is something that people are looking for, like access to celebrities and movie premieres and those kind of things. And it's like, that stuff is so far and few between that if you don't actually love the grind part of it, you're going to quit very quickly. So only do it because you couldn't do anything else, kind of idea.
Yeah, I love like screener season. There'll always be some critic will take a picture of like their kitchen table, and it'll just be screeners. I guess now you're getting some more stuff digital. You still get quite a bit of physical though, right?
In screener season towards the end of the year, that'll start here in about a month. Well, I don't know this year. It's going to be it's going to be different this year. It may not start till late November for all I know, but
well, yeah, and they might be more open to things being digital too.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one for sure.
And it's sounding like more movies might be moving. There was some rummaging about like Wonder Woman might move again.
Oh, interesting.
And then a lot of people are theorizing that Disney's going to move Black Widow again.
Wow.
It might still come out this year, but it might be more towards, they might move it to Christmas or something. So who knows?
Yeah, it's a fascinating conversation. But yeah, I guess overall I would say find what you love to do so much that you would do it for free, and then find a way to get paid for it is like best case scenario.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think also something else, since we're talking about it too, is just to remember, like, Jeremy and Chris, who've shared their story multiple times, having a video go viral on YouTube to kind of launch things is exciting, but keeping it going and creating an entertainment group from that is not something that happens because of dumb luck. It happens because of a lot of work. And so even the viral video that most people kind of remember, like the first, there was a lot of work behind that too, not just the creation of it, but the dedication to continue to try to find ways to, create content that people enjoy, create content that they were doing. They were working other jobs while they were doing this. Kind of like what you're saying, Aaron, is if you love doing something and you really want to find a way to make it part of how you can make money, you have to kind of know that there's a really good chance you're not going to make money for a while. You're just going to do it because you love it. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. The luck part of something going viral, that kind of thing, the right person retweeting your thing.
That's cool.
That's
awesome.
only the first step. That's just like one thing.
I wouldn't even say first, right? I would say they had to create it. They had to have the desire to do it.
Yes, it's only one piece of the puzzle, a very small piece of the puzzle. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you, when I first started working, I was just doing music videos then, so I was still working a full-time job and doing that. And then I got put on CinemaSins, so I was basically working 2 full-time jobs. And so I would go to work during the day, and then at night I would be working on stuff like that. And, and then like and on weekends and stuff. And like I would, I had a 5-year-old, I guess my daughter was 5 around that time. So like I would, I was missing things because I was trying to work up to this point. And then, and then things just kind of worked out. And Aaron and I were able to get CinemaSins going. And, now I see my daughter a lot more, than I would have if I was just working the day job. So it all worked out. Like Aaron's saying, sometimes, if you can get to that point, you just be happy.
Yeah, totally.
It's really fun. It's really fun. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's not fun, but
it's a hard job.
Yeah.
It's a fun job that takes a lot of work.
So, welcome to the vocational podcast where we give you vocational ideas for how to find your dream job.
Send your vocational questions to us.
And we should now mention that online you can sign up for $19.99 for our 15-week vocational course where we train you how to make money by getting others to pay you $19.99 for a vocational course. All right, we will head into the SinSide Scoop.
What's he building in there?
I've got a secret. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
This is a true story.
We're going to take a look at the videos from the week, the process of sinning them, how we felt about the stuff we're sinning in general. We kick it off in the TV Sins world with some more Finifer. We're doing some more Phineas and Ferb. The summer belongs to you.
Did people call it that, or did you just make that up?
I made that up. That is my new term.
God.
Fine. I'll never do it again. Never do it again.
You do it all. No, that's very you. So that makes
it
more
is
sense
very
that
me.
you made it up.
This is the Summer Belongs to You kind of movie, Phineas and Ferb TV movie kind of idea. It's basically...
How you guys enjoying the 45 minutes?
It's fun. It's fun. If you're going to spend 45 minutes, it's nice to spend it in this world.
I thought this was excellent. This is probably the episode where I'm like, I need to watch more of this show because, I was dying.
Yeah.
Were you?
When I was, oh my God. The cowboy hat line killed me, where he was just like, oh good, because I was thinking about getting a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Oh God, there was a lot of stuff. I'm trying to remember what the other one was, but anyways, the running joke about her not seeing Clay Aiken and Shaka Khan. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. And then there was just, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. The music's actually good. I think we talked about that last week. The Summer Belongs to You. That whole number is just like, I love when Candace starts singing and he's like, you got it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you figured it out. But I don't know. I was dying. In fact, with this and the next one we're going to talk about Bob's Burgers, this might be the best like week, like as far as quality of 2 episodes. This might be my favorite week ever of TV Sins.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. This was a Dicer Hughes script, so Danae and I wrote on this one.
I do remember shadowing this one.
Yeah, you did shadow this one. Yeah.
Danae, what were your thoughts on this episode, this movie?
I was not expecting it to be a movie, and so it allowed me to be in the world a little bit longer, which I think played to an advantage for me because you get to see the characters interact more. However, the whole like traveling around the world part was, I don't know, I was just confused about.
There's plenty to send.
Yeah, I was just confused about like how much. I don't know how to even verbalize it. It was a little. It was awkward. There's several parts that were just a little awkward
like
for me.
just the kind of like subtle racism of.
That's the word.
The
subtle.
Stereotype.
I couldn't think of the word subtle.
Well,
yeah.
no, there's a real comfortability with just stereotypes. This is the Italian stereotype. This is the Asian stereotype. This is
the Asian one was the one that was really confusing to me. Mostly, I wonder if I can pull up the lyrics to that song.
I was gonna say I don't remember. I kind of remember. I know what you're talking about because you guys send that one, right? That was the Asian one you guys send.
So there's
this,
I remember it. There's this interesting thing where what the show is going for is multiculturalism. What the show is going for is going to all these different places and showing them. You know, you've got India, you've got, you know, it's a trip around the world. You've got France and I mean everywhere. They pretty much go everywhere. And so I think the show is trying to do that, but at the time it wouldn't have felt this way, but now it feels I guess a little bit more like appropriation, you would say, or the idea that, you know, you've got these white kids mostly, you know, doing this. So yeah, there's just a little bit of discomfort in it through like 2020 hindsight.
Yeah, and the more that I looked into it too, is I'm gonna forget his name. The kid that's being bullied the whole time that kind of gets kidnapped and just taken along. There's a lot of articles about that being that his character is the example of racism in the most strongest example of racism in the entire series.
You're talking about Baljeet?
Baljeet, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of how he's treated throughout the.
Interesting.
There's a lot of articles about Baljeet, and like if you just type in Baljeet, you'll immediately be kind of faced with, just different examples of how he's called an idiot and like I'm not gonna say
because it's not like a poo, like, you know, like it's not like, I don't feel that. I don't know, I've only seen a couple episodes with him in it though, so it could get a lot worse or better.
Like beyond Apu in Simpsons, the most racist Indian moment is Baljeet. One of the reasons why Indian Americans are being treated less and less like people. Here's an example, and it's just like kind of showing like the accidental racism is another kind of thing, and whether it's accidental or purposeful, there's quite a few that I just kind of glanced at to get an understanding. I really so like when he's kidnapped and just, you know, ill-treated and all this stuff, I was like, oh, okay, so but there's a lot out there about that, so that kind of made me uncomfortable. The J-pop song was confusing to me too because the lyrics don't even make any sense, and I don't understand what it's saying. This is the lyrics to that song. As for a list of exotic amusement which makes between the summer there is here we look at baseball like the fact that it does. As some people the fact that volleyball is done and is enjoyed when it's hot. We swim in water like the fact that it does. No, like the fact that it goes is the second one.
Like, so it's just the verbiage, the way he's...
Yeah.
There's a syntax thing that they're doing there that happens when cultures have different syntax and you try to translate things, and it can come off, especially coming from a white voice, and by voice I mean creator, those kind of things. It can come off as being belittling, even if it's not intended that way. So yeah,
right. So I was just like, whoa. So that kind of made me uncomfortable. I mean, I definitely like Jonathan said, the songs are addictive and they kind of get in your head, and you're watching this kind of crazy adventure. But I didn't find it very funny. So yeah.
I did. I find it hilarious and also vaguely problematic. I think it can be both things.
I didn't disagree with a lot of the things you guys said. Obviously I didn't, because I didn't say anything.
But I think the difference between me and you guys is like you kind of find this show funny, and I am still not finding it funny. So it's just a different sense of humor, I guess.
Sure.
No, but I mean, comedy is the most subjective genre. So I think it either just hits you or it doesn't. You know, I can't explain.
This show doesn't hit me. I like it. It's not that I'm like, this is horrible.
I hear you.
It's more like, okay, this is a show.
Yeah, it's just, I hear you. No, I totally hear you.
Cool. It's a show. Okay.
I was shocked. I'm shocked. And I might, like, this might just be an exception of an episode. I might watch, 20 more and be like, okay. I doubt
no,
it.
No, it is consistently a funny and clever show.
I really like Phineas and Ferb, and I really like Candace, even though there is probably some sexism thrown towards her. I will say that with the stereotype, I think it was more of a stereotype setting with the women, but like I will say with the little girl, and I can't remember, Isabella.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She just, I don't know. My daughter likes a lot of boys. I don't really get this because as a boy, like I always liked girl. I mean, I always was like, ooh, dating sounds fun. Even when I was like, like 9 or 10,
Yeah.
I always wanted a girlfriend, I guess. I was that guy. And so I never really understood the being oblivious thing. But like, it's really interesting that my daughter will talk about all these boys she likes at school. And then when I'm around those boys, man, they are just beyond oblivious.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Her character, that seemed like, even though it is kind of sad, it seemed very normal.
Well, that's
but I think there's definitely a sin there because it shouldn't be, right? So that's why I'm saying I agree with it.
Right, and part of the question is where does that circle begin? It's a chicken and an egg thing, Do girls grow up thinking that way because they see it so much, or is it mirrored to them because it's true about themselves? And for this episode, it really was just the overwhelming weight of all the women in this are seeking validation in males.
I will say about the Isabella thing real quick, though. I do like the fact that he's not mean to her.
Right.
Because that's one thing with my daughter, my wife, and I from the get-go. We're like, we are not going to let her think that, if they're mean to you, that means they like you.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of bullshit, because I've always hated that.
Yeah, right.
So I do like, it's not like he's not mean to her. In fact, he's very nice to her.
Right.
At least he was in this episode. I mean, I don't know, but like he's just oblivious to everything and just not. I guess not. He's not taking her thoughts into consideration. Maybe, I don't know. However you want to put that. But no, I agree with you. When you combine her, Candace, and the daughter.
Yeah, Doofenshmirtz's daughter. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
And it's just, and again, it's this episode. We're sending this episode. This show has other episodes where the women have their own storylines. They have their own plots. I don't believe this show overall is something that a feminist would be like, this is one of the worst shows ever. It's just this episode it's very sexist. The women in this episode, the definition of their plot, the definition of their character is, I need this man to tell me they approve. And
so let's retape my part about this episode. So I hated this episode. It was very sexist.
No, it's very fun.
I'm kidding.
I
Go
really
on, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. I just find it interesting too when Aaron will find these things and I don't, and then I look at it and I go, "Wow, I'm so used to that."
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And it's really interesting.
In all honesty, I mean, I think Aaron's always. I mean, he's always. I think both of you have helped me see those things better.
I want to be more aware of it for conversations with Iris. I think because there is that subtle way that our like what we watch influences how we relate to other people. And there are certain shows I just kind of like walk away from with Iris where I'm like, oh, I trust this show, like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and stuff like that, where they're like solving mysteries and things. But as we start to watch content, maybe like more like this, I'm like, I really want to think more critically about it instead of just watching it for like, oh, if a scary ghost pops up or something like that. But rather like the content behind it, those subtle subversive things that tell you who you are in society, which I think is why like the Baljeet character is really disappointing for some people and should be, because he's portrayed as, somebody to be bullied and belittled and made fun of because he looks different. And that's unacceptable. And so similar with, the women or young girls, their storyline, their struggle, what they're thinking about shouldn't always be based on what's going on with the men around them.
Absolutely.
It can be something else. So, and it's really strange because I think, like for me growing up, the culture was, and my upbringing was large in part, who are you going to marry? Who are you going to be with? What boys do you like? I mean, these were the questions people always asked me. So these are the things I always thought about. So that influenced the things that were on my mind growing up. I wasn't asked things like, what do you want to study in college? Or things like that. You know, it was always about relationship and always about how I looked. Always about, you know, really superficial stuff. Like legitimately, that's what I remember and recall. And so that's been really important to me, that when I talk to Iris, I talk about her intellect and her, you know, her ability to draw and her skills and things like that. I compliment her beauty. Obviously, I think she's beautiful, but that's maybe 1% of my compliments to her. And I want to find a good balance. Obviously, she's only 3, so I got time. But anyways, it's just interesting, Aaron. So I want to say thank you for pointing those things out. I think it's important.
It's not, well, the other thing I think is irritating, they always put that on the female character, and as someone who, I mean, like, I felt like I was kind of like Candace in high school, where when I had a girlfriend, I was always concerned that, oh no, if I do this, she's not going to like me. And if, you know, like that happens with men too. Like that's, I mean, maybe, I don't know. I think it's pretty even too. Like, I think there's some women that happens to, some that don't give a shit. There's some men that it happens to, some men that don't give a shit. Right. Because my wife would be like more like what you would call the man, where she's just like, yeah, if you want to hang out, let's hang out. If not, whatever, you know, whereas I'm trying to like impress, you know, which is unhealthy, which was definitely unhealthy for me. So
much of the unhealthy things in our relationships, both romantic relationships and even friend relationships, come from these kind of pressures. And I could talk about this forever, by the way. So if we want to do the whole podcast today on this, I'm fine. I'm free for the next few hours.
Yeah, we're talking about Phineas and Ferb when we got into this. Of course we did.
We point out the sexism of the idea of these women all needing validation in a man. But it's beyond that. It's the idea of relationship pressure. And the way that our children feel monogamy pressure at such a young age is insane to me. The idea that they find in their world this desire to find a single boyfriend or girlfriend at, you know, 7, 8, 9, whatever the case may be, so that they can check that box and validate themselves by a relationship. And I'm talking both men and women now. It hurts in so many different ways. It develops codependency. It develops this idea that you can only have good relationships with one person of the opposite gender. It develops, you know, these crazy ideas of what love is supposed to look like. It's just the idea that we're not teaching our kids, hey, go be friends with a bunch of human beings instead, you know, proactively. But instead we're like, oh, look at her with her little boyfriend. Isn't that cute? Do you want to kiss him? Do you want to kiss your little boyfriend?
That already happens with Iris.
Oh my goodness, stop, people. Just stop.
Well, and the other, I also hate the being a dad. I hate the stereotype. Being a dad of a girl, I hate that. I always get asked the question, what are you going to do when she starts dating? Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm going to I'm going to meet her boyfriend or meet her date and have a conversation. What do you want me to have a rifle handy? And like, you want to come over and we'll do Bad Boys 2? Like,
hope
what?
That she has enough of an understanding of her person that she can.
Yeah, I find that dads, I can understand being like concerned, but like, I don't know. I find weird that dads get obsessed with stuff like that about their daughter dating.
I'm questioning my verbiage. I think I should have said exclusivity pressure, not monogamy pressure. I think that probably would have been a better way to express what I was saying. But this idea of what a relationship is and how you have to check it off on your list to be a valid human being is just,
I will say, when you said that, I was thinking, wait, is he saying like you should date a bunch of people in high school, like 100%? At the same time?
I am 100% saying that.
Oh no, but I mean, you should. I mean, like, no, I know what you're saying. You should just date, not have have relationships.
The pressure of exclusive relationships is so ridiculous to me.
You're right.
When you are, if you are pursuing monogamy in a marriage relationship, and that is a decision that you and your partner make for your life, that's great. Then you have that vow together, right? But when you are growing up, this idea that if I have a boyfriend, I can't like other boys or be attracted to other boys, or if I have a girlfriend that I can't hang out with other girls, it's so unhealthy. And I just
and even in marriage, marriage that's unhealthy, because of course you're going to be attracted to other people. It doesn't mean you're going to act on it or even think about it, but attraction, I'm attracted to Aaron. What am I supposed to do about that? I'm kidding. I
felt so good, and then you took it back.
Okay, well you can keep it. No, I was telling the truth.
I think we've unpacked a lot of really cool, like, healthy concepts here, but we could talk about this all day. Yeah. We should just talk about the fun sins and
yes. Let's move on. Let's get into it.
I'm thinking about high school relationships. No, I'm just kidding.
Jonathan, you didn't write on this. Why don't you head us into the Sins video?
I did not. I believe those things are just called I believe those are just called land bands now, Jeremy. I thought that was amazing, and I don't know if you were even referencing that, but they changed the Disney World resort. Did you know that?
Oh no, all I knew was the Dixie Chicks just went to the Chicks.
It was. Is it Maybe it's Port Orleans now. I don't know. Or maybe they have it. I don't know. It was like a Dixieland or something, and they changed it. And I think maybe it's Port Orleans. That's the one that they changed it to. I can't remember. But yeah, no, that happened.
Yeah.
And then is it Super COVID? That was amazing. But seriously, that word was undercover. Like, he cut those letters out of undercover.
There's no other word that would come from.
There are other words.
Like recover, maybe?
That it could have been, because I looked up other words. We actually had an alt on this one. We had Aaron's, which is the one we went with because it just flowed better.
Well, you're a woman.
That's right. I'm always going to be lesser.
You did pass all your sins through Justin first, right? To make sure that he approved.
I made sure.
Just wanted to make sure.
It went through all 5 of my male bosses.
That's right.
Okay, so like mine was pop quiz. Whether I think I called him Doofendoodle or something, subs to which magazine? A Roman magazine for the word Vercovicium, because that's actually like part of this thing.
Mm-hmm. Aaron just didn't want to say these words. I'm telling you right now.
A doom metal magazine for the band Super Coven. Or betting trends for the overcover and all of those have that combination of those letters that it could have been, or D, none of the above, blah, 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 and just kind of making fun of this Urkov moment. I liked, obviously, we both liked how Aaron kind of put his together, but it was fun to see the alt side by side. Mm-hmm. We both just zoomed in on that letter. We gave that letter the what for.
Nice.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's so funny. I love Aaron bringing up that he had a list, 16 and a half things weird list. And then, of course, the wordplay on how did they pull this song out of their brass was pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. And the gutter system. Oh, my God, the gutter system was hilarious. Because, whoever noticed that was insane.
It was like Mr. Potato Head, where you just, have holes, you just stick stuff on the side.
That was animators getting lazy, I think.
Is the rain coming from inside the house? What is
the strangest thing ever. There's not even a gutter system on the side of the roof. No. It was just literally just...
It's like, don't put anything there. We're not going to notice.
Yeah.
Maybe we would. No, we would have said it for not having a gutter system if they not done that.
Danae, do you want to go next?
Some of the ones that I really liked was we actually had another alt series on this one for the whole Paris thing. We both started off with our view on how obvious the setting in Paris was, but I really liked how Aaron kind of played that out and was like the forced geographical establishing cues and the music and everything. I thought that was really, really fun. Is it Parisian? Mm-hmm. Is that what you said, the Parisian music? So I thought that was fun. We also had alts for the road construction, which, again, Aaron figured out the best way to kind of put together all these different pieces of how that road construction made no sense. And, of course, we got to sin kind of this whole, massive crevice. It was so deep, and there was a couple different angles on it, and it's just what are they doing in this neighborhood that is requiring them to dig 50 feet down and make this massive crater?
Yeah.
This huge trench in this neighborhood.
They're building a tunnel or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing.
That's a conspiracy level
They're building
stuff.
a landing for the spaceship to land.
Well, and then they hang a porta potty out over it. What? What?
And then, of course, the corresponding part of that the show has no interest in making that any kind of reasonable part of like any kind of delay for the mom or anything. You know, she's
No.
she's just like there 15 seconds later somehow.
Yeah, I had to go back and look at. Oh, there's a couple things on that because I was just like, I didn't even catch because I read the sins and I'm just like, wait a second, I don't think that's right. Like there was something about like, why didn't she park in the driveway? I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I went back like, oh, sure enough.
Yeah, she parks in the driveway every other episode, but this one she just pulls in the street.
And then
weird.
like Candace, there's no way she would have known she was there. And
No.
I mean, yeah, that you guys nailed that scene. That was funny.
It was ridiculousness. I loved Aaron's punny book with the punny names, the punny side up, Born to Pun, and the military, the pun of Nava grown, and then how we asked them to make the book title change as it went through. Thought that was really, really fun.
Listen, I love puns. And more egregious than the pun title in that sin is the fact that you would get your puns from a book. Get them
Some
from
people
your
aren't
mind.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Some people aren't gifted.
Wait, Aaron likes puns?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Listen,
it's a new development.
I will be.
I learned something 58 episodes later.
I love
What are we
that.
on?
I love that puns of Navagrone pun so much it may be on my headstone when I get buried. I'm
no.
proud of that one.
What episode number is this? Is it 58? Is that right?
64, I think.
Oh, close.
Yeah.
Close. And just another one that just bothered me that was fun to sin was the clock beeping at 5:01.
I had that one written down too. Yeah.
Why does that happen? Who has a clock that beeps every minute? That's so stupid. So I really liked pointing that one out.
I mean, the only thing I could think of would be like snooze, but snooze is like 7
But even
minutes,
still,
right?
It still goes beep beep beep
Who
beep
would-
beep. It
who
doesn't
would
just
set
beep
it?
once.
Yeah, who
you
would
know?
set a snooze alarm for 1 minute though? That would be terrible.
Oh no, I've actually done that.
Mine on my phone is like 7 minutes. I know, and I've never changed it. So,
That's funny.
but I try not to do that because I've heard it's very unhealthy.
Anyways, those are mine. I liked so many, but those are just the few that
No, it's fun.
I-
Stacy answered that phone instantly. She appears to be sleepy, but the moment Candace says her name, she's not only awake but also sitting up and instantly ready to get on with her day. I thought that was a great observation. I'm imagining a child watching this show thinking, "I believe I can get good grades, attend college, feed myself, and keep my place clean while also never leaving the couch because one more round of Fall Guys isn't going to play itself." And then now their grades are trash and they're in debt. I thought that was fun too.
There's a video actually. I just sent a script to Barrett for a music video sends. I think it's next week's, and I don't know if he's going to keep it in. But the whole song is basically about that. Like, if you just dream, you're good. Like,
just dream
you're
it.
just gonna be a doctor.
Just
you
dream
know,
it,
and
you
I'm
can
just
do it.
like, and I'm just sitting there like, oh my god. So I wrote a send kind of similar to that. I was like, so seeing it in this, it was really funny.
I really like the observation too about Perry's bed flipping around and how nobody would have found that with it glued to the floor and it spins so easily. Like, that made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
And then good gravy, Mother of Dragons, there are children watching. And then the fact that we blurred
And then we blurred the face,
blurred the head.
the explosion.
Speaking of Perry, though, Danae, this should be like your favorite show. That's a freaking platypus.
It is a platypus, but
And you're like,
he's
there's no
not really.
platypuses out there.
He's really not that. He's not really been the center character in anything that I
He
watched
always,
so
it's
far.
kind of his adventures are side stories, right? Typically.
Yep. That's typically how it works.
Also, I mean, before we wrap up, I have a confession that might make me unpopular. I'm a little nervous about it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But I really can't stand Clay Aiken's voice.
Yeah.
I don't think. How is that going to make you unpopular? Do you hear people talking about him these days? You're thinking,
don't know.
got a lot of. What are they? Clay heads? What were they called?
I don't
Claymates.
know.
Is that right?
Like
Claymates.
Claymation, but Claymate. Okay.
Is it really?
I don't know. There's a couple things that happened. I was really annoyed by his voice. And then because I had to watch it multiple times, I realized that it was like a legit thing. The first time I watched it, I was just a little like, oh, I didn't like that. Second and third time, I was like, oh, there's just something about his voice I really don't like. And then when we were going over the edit, I watched our first edit round where we're making notes, to either fix something that we see or change something in the visual part of it. I watched it at 0.75 speed. Listening to Clay Aiken sing at 0.75 speed was like nightmare fuel.
here's my experience with Clay Aiken. Many people know I get wrapped up in reality competition shows.
Yeah.
I love them, and American Idol is no different. And in fact, the first season of American Idol I watched was season 2. I didn't watch the first season.
Same with my wife and I. I watched the end of season 1, but season 2 was the first full season I watched.
So I was into the Clay versus Ruben thing. Like, I loved them both, but I was definitely rooting for Clay. Right from, I think there was something that season where they had to fight their way back in or something if they had been eliminated. And he sang John Elton's Don't Let the Sun Go Down on You. I remember this vividly, and he blew my mind. I had never heard such like a pure tonal voice sing that song like that. And I'm with
Danae.
I'm a real fan of his voice. I love there's just a purity to his tone that I really like.
I think my opinion is he can sing. I mean, he's talented. I'm kind of with Danae on hearing it. I don't know. Sometimes voices are unpleasant.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't jive with a voice for whatever reason. Clay has a voice that's, I don't know.
So my wife would be with you. My wife was so for Ruben, she developed a hatred for Clay.
That's so funny.
Well, that's how it was. It was Clay versus Ruben that whole season, once it got into it. So, yeah.
And then I think after that, she's like, I don't think I can watch reality competition shows anymore. She's like, I don't think they're healthy. Although she does watch like RuPaul's Drag Race and some stuff like that. But she doesn't watch singing competitions anymore. My daughter just started watching RuPaul's Drag Race. A 9-year-old recapping RuPaul's Drag Race for you is awesome. FYI.
So anyhow, I liked Clay during the American Idol season, and then afterwards was just like, I'm not that interested anymore. So it really is a reality show thing for me, I think, where I attach myself to the contestant and not necessarily the talent. And
so you don't watch American Idol? That's the one.
No. I've watched every season of American Idol since then. I don't listen to Clay Aiken after that season. I
thought you were saying you didn't care about the show anymore.
No, I didn't care about Clay anymore
who's your favorite winner?
Winner? Probably
of all time?
Of American Idol?
Yeah.
I actually don't know. That's a good question. I mean, did Carrie win her season? Carrie Underwood?
Yeah, she did, because that was a crazy season too. Because that was what's his name? He ended up finishing like 5th, and he was killing it like all season. The Rocker.
I liked him too. He's still doing stuff
name.
too.
No,
mine's Kelly Clarkson.
He was on Masked Singer.
Yeah, he was. He was great.
He was the dog on Masked Singer.
Right. Yeah.
What is his name?
Masked Singer dog.
I'm coming home.
Chris, right? Daughtry? Is it Daughtry?
Chris Daughtry, yes.
Yeah.
This is why I don't sing, Danae, because you're just like, I don't know that song.
I know.
Anyhow, that's my experience with Clay. It was dependent on the season, but yeah, Fantasia's amazing.
Kelly
Clarkson's amazing. A lot of great people have come through that show.
I'm never was a Taylor Hicks fan. That one kind of
that was a weird thing, man. That Taylor Hicks thing was a weird thing. But yeah. All right, let's move on to Bob's Burgers. The pilot is called Human Meat and is about exactly what you might think it would be about with a title like that. It is a Dyson Watkins script. Jonathan and myself writing on this one. I don't believe any of us had watched the show before watching this pilot.
This is my favorite discovery of TV Sins so far.
Have you watched more yet?
No, I haven't. I'm saying, but this pilot,
okay,
I have
just
not
curious.
gotten around. Yeah,
I haven't either.
I'm going to. I have to now, but this pilot was just. I mean, this is a great pilot, regardless of what the show becomes. This is one of the best pilots I've probably ever seen.
This show is funny and well.
Oh my god!
I'm glad that I haven't really got into Archer because I was incredibly distracted by the dad's voice being Archer. That was a kind of a shock to me that it took me quite a while to kind of be like, brr, brr, brr. This is not that, because his voice is so easily recognizable. You know what I mean? Like, he can't really mask his voice. He can mask the delivery of the lines and things like that. But after I watched it, because I watched it because I was a shadow on this one, so I had to watch for that purpose. And then I watched it again, a couple scenes, just to kind of like click some things into mind. And I'm glad I don't watch Archer because this can be kind of that voice for me. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's not an Archer voice. It's going to become a Bob's Burger because I'm probably not going to watch Archer as much as everybody thinks I would love it. And I think I agree. I think I would lean definitely more towards the Bob's Burgers because I just find the relationship aspects between the family to me, more interesting than the relationships with the coworkers, the toxic environment of the coworkers versus the toxic environment of the family, I guess is your choices.
I mean, I've obviously watched a lot of Archer, so I mean, I can't compare it right now. It would not shock me if this ends up being better based on that pilot. Archer had a really good pilot too, though. But it would not shock me if it ends up being better. So I don't think you can go wrong with either one of those, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
Because this was like pitch perfect. Like it just everything about it. I mean, it was unreal. Like and a lot of those Fox animation, that's why I'd probably never watched it, because honestly, other than The Simpsons and I guess King of the Hill, Futurama, but I mean, like all the new ones they've popped out like over the last like decade, I haven't really gotten into the ones I've watched.
Yeah.
And I think I just never gave this one a chance for whatever reason, and apparently that was a bad call.
I also really love, is it Kristen Shale? Is that how you say her last name?
Shaw.
Okay. I really, really love her.
She's great.
I love her voice. I love her quirkiness. Last Man on Earth was one of the shows that I watched every episode of and I really loved. And that's probably where I probably know her best from, I guess, her work. So when I heard her voice on this show playing Louise, aka Bunny Hat Girl, I was really, really excited to hear her voice. And her delivery is fun.
Interesting story about her, that Barrett and I did send the Sins video for Valentine's Day, which is a terrible movie. I mean, Aaron probably loves it, but it's a fucking terrible movie. It just feels like an Aaron thing. I don't know. No, have you ever seen it?
I don't know.
Jessica Biel and Jessica Alba.
Yes,
and,
yes, I have.
Yeah. But it's really bad. It's really generic. I think it's like Gary Marshall or something. And he directed it. But anyways, Kristen Shaw's in it. And there is one scene, and it's a scene with her, and she's so good in the scene. It's a really funny moment. It's like her and Taylor Swift, which is really an odd duo in a scene. But I gave her a send off. And Barrett was like, I agree with you. He's like, we cannot give this movie a send off, though. He's like, we just can't. He's like, I know they don't matter.
I know it doesn't matter. We can't do it.
We cannot give this movie a send off.
It's so funny how we're such hypocrites sometimes in our own mind. Like we all know it doesn't matter, and then yet we can't help it. We're like, no, I can't give a send off, or I have to give a send off, or whatever it might be.
And I didn't disagree with him, because it was a terrible movie. I mean, talk about like a movie you would hate, Danae. Like, I mean, because it was just every stereotype you can imagine, and it's about Valentine's Day. You know, it's awful. It's just an hour and a half of women looking for recognition from their men. It's terrible.
I'm at the threat of turning this into a Kristen Shaw podcast. I love her as well, and I cannot help but think of this moment in one of the episodes of Radio Lab. If you listen to this podcast, they did a podcast on loops and the idea that things repeating over and over. And she used to do this comedy bit with Kurt Braunhauer. They were kind of like a comedy team, and it was him just singing this song, Kristen Shaw is a horse, Kristen Shaw is a horse, Kristen Shaw.
I've heard this.
And he would do it over and over, and the crowd would laugh at it, and she'd just dance around like a horse, and the crowd would laugh at it. And then he would keep doing it until they stopped laughing, like it wasn't funny anymore, and then wait until it got funny again. Like he'd just keep doing it, and then they would see how long they could do it, you know, before completely losing the audience. And they'd go 15, 20 minutes sometimes with like Kristen Shaw is a horse, and she just dance around like a horse. And the show was like, it was exploring that comedy of thing about like, if you do something over and over again enough, it eventually becomes unfunny, but then it eventually becomes funny again, and like how that works in the human mind. Anyways, it's a fascinating episode, and it's a really funny idea.
Like Barrett used to do the banana, the knock knock banana joke. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But he would do it for like, he would just he would never say orange. Like, so he would do this to people until they were just about to kill him. And that's when I think he discovered that he really liked my wife, because when we were dating, because she just like let him keep going, and she just didn't care at all. She enjoyed it with him. So, but yeah, no, that's just what that reminds me of every time I hear people do stuff like that.
She's great. I love Kristen Shaw. Danae, why don't you move us into the Sins video? What's some of the stuff that you liked in there?
Oh, I mean, since the show was unexpected and had a lot of unexpected places that it went, I first of all want to say congratulations, you guys, because I remember reading and you're like, whoa, it's hard to send this one, because we were all having a good time.
It was really hard.
Yeah, this was a tough one.
It wasn't even because it was good. It was just I don't know. There just wasn't a lot of stuff to like grab onto.
No, and I was really impressed with the continuity of their animation, which of course is something that I always look for. Even like the sides of the buildings have like appropriate piping and appropriate lines for like, phones and things like that. So it was not something very easy. So I like what you guys found. I loved the sample burger sizes so that you can accidentally grab 3 toothpicks instead of 1. Just the turn of that sin was fun and unexpected.
That was ridiculous. Aaron noticed that.
Yeah.
I've handed samples out. Yeah, you don't get like a Crystal's burger.
And then pointing out the Labor Day weekend. So they say that the lab is going to be open on Monday, and pointing out, well, since it's Labor Day weekend, wouldn't it be Tuesday? I thought that was just a nice and clever kind
nice
of find
catch.
there.
Nice catch.
Yeah.
That was like on the 8th time I was watching it. I caught that, I think.
Toilet width stalls. I love that one because those
so
are
true.
awful.
They're the worst.
Those are so awful. I think we've all probably been in a toilet stall that was very, very little room to move around. So I loved that. And then adding the whole answering your phone while you're in a restroom, or really any restroom, whether it's public or not.
Yeah, I think I noted that I wanted to add the any restroom. And then I said, if either one of you call me from the restroom, I'm losing your numbers.
If you answer the phone and you say, yeah, I'm in the toilet, I don't know why. I don't get it. There's this kiss that has the slobber, and so it turns into an ah-oo moment. And Aaron, is this your first time delivering an ah-oo?
Yes, it's my first ah-oo.
Aw, I thought it was great. I loved it.
I did my best.
And then
we do talk about that, by the way. We've cut stuff before because we felt like that was more something Jeremy would do.
Right, yeah.
But this is a crossover.
Yeah.
I also pointing out the sign not being changed back from child molester to the new baconings when they clearly had time to do that, which just meant that they want more shenanigans, which this show is all about, the shenanigans. And so it was just this constant, one-upping of how the day could get worse and worse and worse. And so to point out how they didn't make it any easier on themselves was fun too. And that's mine for today.
Also known as the TV sins trifecta was one of my favorite sins. Loved that.
I wrote like 30 things for that too, and that was the one I finally decided was the good one. But that was just...
I also liked the pretty sure that's Chick-fil-A, but semantics about the enemy of the burger. That
if there was one sin that was surely Jonathan's, it's anything that's like Chick-fil-A related.
Yeah, I worked there. So.
Yeah, you're like, the disdain for this place is real.
I just loved it's called The Pursuit of Excellence, Susan. Look it up.
Yeah, I love that one.
It's like, for whatever reason, I just wanted to pick on that teacher. It's like that ampersand was awful. And I was like, who draws an ampersand like that? Anyhow. Have you ever worked in a kitchen? You take the smell home with you. It lives inside you.
Yeah, I agreed with that one very much.
I love that one very much. The natural loofah that removes 6 skin layers can't even help the stench. So yeah.
That is no joke. I mean, I can't tell you how many nights I took a shower, got out, dried off, and I was like, nope. And then I got right back in.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens, man. Especially if you're closing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You're
imagine?
Like,
I imagine I would actually use soap if I worked at a restaurant.
You would absolutely have to use soap.
I have so many things I want to add about that conversation, by the way, since it went live, but it's fine. It'll just exist as it is.
What was wrong with it?
No. Just the fact that I also don't live a very active life, so it's not like I'm sweating a lot or anything like. And I just wanted
if you were doing like construction or something, you might be yes, you might be more inclined.
I might be more of a soap fan. What about you, Jonathan? What were some of the ones we haven't mentioned that you liked?
You screaming Lana was really funny. Speaking of the Archer,
my goodness,
reference, I didn't know. And I just put, you don't have to do this, but that would be because I even suggested we could put it in. Like we could put in Lana from an episode or something.
The Lana that made it in was my first take. I did about 5, and I got to the end, and I was like, I think the first one's my best, but you can be the judge. So I think they agreed. But
they listened.
I may have one fewer vocal cord. I don't know how many you have, but I think I've got one less than I used to after trying to do that. So
it's like we're born with like 10, and you only have so many
something
screams.
like that. Yeah, exactly.
People who keep snow globes in their purse was just so random and funny. I'm pretty sure you mispronounced hilarious. And judging a book by its comb-over cover were the other ones I had.
Yes.
Which that was yours. I can't remember what I had, but that was one where we had a couple of different ones I remember because that was just a bizarre scene. But yeah, that Kristen Shaw's the youngest, right? She's the one that was getting in, like, got them into trouble, right? She's the one that why they were doing why it was called Human Meat or whatever. Man, she's really funny.
Yeah, for some reason the alt that was pedophile shaming didn't make the official.
Oh my God! All
that did not happen. That did not happen.
All right, let's move on to music video sins. Blackpink. We're talking about oral sex again with ice cream.
We think.
I think it's more than
we're talking about oral sex again. Yeah. By the way, just want to make this very clear. Barrett took the sin away for Lisa. So
okay, fair enough.
I actually gave a sin at that, but it was a positive towards her. I wrote a sin along the lines of, we love Nicki and Cardi, but why can't we have some Lisa guest verses? Or something like that.
I think the actual sin was Lisa is objectively the most beautiful woman in this group. I think that is. I think that's what the sin originally was.
So funny how this stuff works out, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the band's just called Lisa now. I think that's what it's.
Man,
Lisa,
these
Mona
women
Lisa.
are so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're all dolled up and everything like that, but they're really just beautiful women. Like Selena. My God, there's just it's look at all these beautiful, talented women on the screen right now. Although I don't, sometimes you look at their outfits and I love how colorful and vibrant. There's just so much to look at. And every time we do a Blackpink, and even like the BTS, there's so many outfit changes. Like I remember back in the day, it was just like you have an outfit, you're doing a video, that's it. Now it's
I don't know,
75.
The boy bands definitely did outfit changes. You can watch some of those Backstreet and NSYNC videos. They definitely have like 3 or 4 different set pieces with different outfits.
I do know what you're saying though, as far as women, because I feel like I was just thinking like Britney Spears. I don't think she changed outfits, and I don't like Christina Aguilera if she was wearing. I don't think she really.
You might have 3
or
something,
maybe, but not like.
But
12.
This was like, whoa, there's so much to look at. And then the thing that's interesting too, they remind me of Barbies in a way where you can get all these different outfits and like change them and stuff.
Accessorize them, yeah.
Accessorize them, which I'm sure is part of what they're going for. But I like it's the kind of outfits that you could never wear in real life. You know what I mean? And feel like, I don't know, maybe you could, maybe your life is like that. I guess I can't assume. I'm a mom in the Midwest now. So like my life is jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah. I will say my daughter though, some like Saturdays when we're home all day, she'll come down with a different outfit like every couple of hours. And I'm just
That's
like,
awesome.
why do you keep changing? Like, are you like, is something going on? Like
she's watching Blackpink.
Yeah, I'm like that too.
Videos.
I'm like that too. I wear 5 or 6 different outfits every day.
You do.
Certainly don't wear the same outfit every day for months on end.
You should hang out with my daughter. You guys could have like costume
but it is
parties.
Cool. Like I kind of find myself watching, like looking at one of like a snapshot of this moment. Like those GIFs where you're supposed to like pause the screen and that's. Like it just flashes a whole bunch of options and then you pause and it's supposed to be like a word for the day or an image for the day or something. It's like you could just fast forward through Blackpink and then just pause it and be like, this is the outfit for the day. Because there's so many options. I don't know. I was just really fascinated by everything that was going on.
I mean, I agree with you. They do a lot of outfit changes.
It was visually very flavorful.
I don't want to step
colors.
over anything Barrett says though. Didn't he write something about this?
Oh yeah, and we'll get to Barrett eventually.
Okay, cool.
I also really loved how colorful the sets were too. I don't know,
yeah.
And that was the same for BTS. Like they're just building these sets. There's that moment when there's all the different colored backdrops, and then they're kind of like stepping through. Like I don't know, I was just really impressed.
I actually disagreed with Barrett on one sin because I didn't think it looked like they were in 2 different places, other than they were never together.
Right.
But I thought they actually did a really good job, which I don't think he says they didn't do a good job. There's some sin where disagree is probably a strong word, but he made a comment about it. And I was actually thinking in my head, I didn't even think about the fact that they weren't together because I didn't even notice they weren't together in a scene, but it makes sense. I mean, they were probably, I don't know if they were overseas or what, but I'm guessing they were. And then Selena was like outside her house probably.
She's just like in her backyard looking amazing.
I love Selena. I mean, I've said, I think I've even said this on the podcast around when it came out, but she released her new album came out like in January, and it is it's outstanding.
She's amazing.
Yeah, I think she's like, I think Barrett even said something about this. I think she is definitely like, I think this is going to be the time she gets like super appreciated. Because I think, the Wizards of Waverly Place and all that stuff happened. I think maybe, and then the Justin Bieber crap happened. And, so I think maybe now people just be like, she's a musical artist. That's what she is. And so, yeah, I'm excited.
Well, here, I've got what Barrett had to say now.
Let's hear it.
He says, such fun, so cunnilingus. You can tell the Blackpink ladies are having a good time, and Selena always brings the energy, so the video isn't bad. The song itself is pretty awful unless you're actively engaging in cunnilingus while listening to it. I don't remember Blackpink being so overtly sexual before, but good for them. While this isn't her best performance or anything, I do believe we're experiencing the beginning of the prime of Selena Gomez's music career. There's a subtle cable guy joke in one of the sins that I presume Aaron picked up on, maybe Jonathan. The bleeping sin was fun too, although it was hard to narrate. I just ended up actually saying all the crazy things that came to mind, and thank God no one will ever hear that except the editors. Actually, I could pull it up right now.
Let's play
I was
that
like,
for
actually,
you now.
could hear little bits and pieces. I got some of it when I was reviewing it, but because I almost even said we might need to bleep it more, but I think it worked out pretty well because I think it's just enough.
I really do wonder if like, someday we can release. Actually, Jeremy recently said something in our Slack channels about a narration that he did where he performs quite a lot and they're going to edit it down. But then I thought it would be kind of fun, like if we release the full performance, for patrons or something like that. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's what Baird had to say.
I'll start with my thoughts. I may have some residual WAP dementia influencing my opinion. Made me laugh. This is
Bears. I mean, wait, hold on a second, Aaron. We haven't had our segment of Aaron dissects the song.
Oh, I mean, if you want me to talk about cunnilingus for a while, I can.
It was both, though, right? It was also them giving oral sex, right? Like it
Guys,
was.
This song is about ice cream. Stop.
Don't ruin Danae's ideas.
Sipping like a Slurpee. I assumed that was.
Would you? Would you assume?
I thought that was a blowjob,
Listen,
but I could be wrong.
It certainly could be. It certainly could be, but it could be other things as well.
It's a cat and ice cream cone.
No,
that's all it is.
I know Barrett and I both had. I had a few too where I was just like, wait a second, does she mean that's this? And I don't know. That was a lot of fun. Like kind of making fun of the fact that we were trying to dissect it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't see too much philosophically
Did
that I
either of
need
you
to
like
explore
the
in
song?
this. I didn't
I
that
didn't
much
really
care
either.
for it, but it's very basic pop music. Sometimes pop music will get to me in a way where I'm like, oh, that's fun, and I just never had that feeling during this song. So I don't know.
And especially like after hearing like even something like some other stuff they've done, or like I said, that Selena Gomez album, like listening to a song like Rare and then listening to this, you're just like, that's a step down. Like,
Yeah. Possibly my favorite sin in the entire video was that's like being a Liverpool fan, but also rooting hard for the Norwegian curling team in the Olympics. And I think it's my favorite because it's such a perfect analogy for the weird, different sports thing she was like, the Boise State, and I forget what the other
Philadelphia Phillies.
in the Phillies. Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, it's just, I loved that. I thought that was great. I'm sure Selena has people that fetch ice and everything, but she does seriously know it's stored in a freezer. Sure, I had some fridge ice this morning. It was called water. I loved that. And of course, you have to mention, haha, you're in my world now, which is really funny at the end.
That was great.
What about you guys?
I jumped onto and where's the Blackpink in your area intro? Sure, I've seen it many times before, but I have to admit I kind of miss it. Like that was just kind of fun.
Yeah.
The whole what was the animal that she was sharing a
capybara.
Capybara?
Yeah, capybara.
Those things are
Capybara.
so cute, but why? Anyway, I kind of paused and just looked at it. I was like, what?
I mean,
Why is she?
I have ideas, guys, but I don't know how far we want to go into this. But there's a beaver / capybara conversation to have at some point.
Okay, no,
but
I don't know that we need to have a conversation.
Okay.
I think you should just say that, and I get it now.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
So thank you. Thank
But
you
they
for
are
that.
bigger than beavers. More on that and keeping tabs.
Being willing to risk frostbite was funny for me. The diamonds on my wrist so he can call me ice cream, not pictured. Diamonds on wrist. And I loved the while this song may be sexy as hell, it's also giving the finger to anyone who's lactose intolerant. I thought that was fun.
Jonathan, what about you?
Yeah, the going off the one about frostbite though, I loved his impression of Jenny. That seemed dead on. I'm sure that's exactly what she sounds like. And then you guys mentioned all the other ones. The only one I had I think that wasn't mentioned was I got vagina. So I thought that was fun.
That was
with the cats in the ice cream cone part, right? Where it was like all of a sudden he was 100% sure.
Yeah.
He was 100% sure at that point that he was correct. Yeah. Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was our coverage of the video for Lisa. That was fun.
She's so pretty that Steve Jobs named an entire computer after. All right, let's move on to CinemaSins. We will start with Rio 2. This was a Cher Watkins script, so Barrett and Jonathan writing on this one.
Yeah.
Do we want to hear Barrett's thoughts right off the top?
Yeah.
Right off the top. These movies are pretty. You can tell the effort went into the animation and not the screenplay. Way too many secondary and tertiary characters like Will.I.Am, Kristen Chenoweth, and Blue's older daughter get more screen time than the actual protagonists. Also, there are roughly 947.3 storylines to follow in this animated movie about a goddamn parrot that's going on vacation. Even though it's pretty, this movie can suck an egg.
I get it.
Yeah, no, I agree with all that. I think we talked about this when we did Rio. My daughter, this was like Rio and Rio 2 were like two of her early favorite movies. So I've seen this movie like 45, 50 times. And I remembered every painstaking second of it when I had to do it for the CinemaSins video.
Oh.
It is a terrible movie. Like, I don't even know where to go with it. It does. I mean, Blue Sky has really nice animation. I agree with them on that.
Yeah. It strikes me. I've only seen it once. Because I didn't have anybody begging me to watch it again, and I would never do that to myself. But it is a movie that strangely is fun to watch, but not fun to watch. If that makes any sense.
But I would just watch the first one. I mean, I would,
right.
like, I don't, yeah.
Although the second one is even more beautiful than the first one.
That's because they're in the Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. No, I agree. But the first one, I mean, the first one's not very good either, but it's closer to good.
Yeah, the first one's okay.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I haven't seen these. Are you guys surprised? I don't know anything. So like watching the Sins video, I actually I jumped in on the edit on this one to kind of just give an extra eye. And so I was able to watch it a couple times through on the edit part and, kind of like learn the general storyline.
Mm-hmm.
So, I understand kind of the point of this movie, but obviously it doesn't really help a lot with what was the previous movie, except for like the Sins kind of reference a few things, but it doesn't, I don't know. It just is an animated movie about birds doing just a weird animated movie about birds.
And they throw in a, inconvenient truth plot line basically, where they're trying to save the trees. And
I mean, the final battle is basically Avatar. Right, like it's with the the machines ready to take down the forest and the animals fighting back
or Fern Gully.
Yeah, and then you have like reconnecting with a lost family and having to figure out if you want to stay with your family or your husband. I don't know. It's just it's a drag. It's not like the first one was kind of more like fun and festive, and this one's just kind of more depressing. Danae,
do you want to kick us off with some video thoughts?
Just in general, well done as always. I don't think I'm ever going to start by saying something like, yo guys, you were way off. Yeah. But I do think that someday we should, just for fun, just to kind of throw each other off.
Just start off with like, well, I can tell your effort wasn't up to par on this one.
Yeah, you guys really dropped the ball on this one.
We did do this one really quick though, because this was one of those where we were trying to, I don't remember why now, but I know this was one we kind of got assigned and had to have it done in a couple of days. So this was a pretty quick turnaround. So yeah, I thought it turned out pretty well, for that.
The good thing about that is that there was a lot that you guys could like point out pretty easily and sort of sin. So I really like the, oh, dad, looking for this, and then kids. I mean, birds. I mean, kid, birds, whatever. These young guns are assholes. I like that. The Brazilian nuts. You could find hundreds of Brazilian nuts, thousands even. That was, hey guys, I'm just a lowbrow humor girl, I guess. I'm just like, nuts.
They had testicles. That's funny.
But I did like the run about the news position that was kind of going on, where the TV was showing football or soccer, and then it was showing, like, the one was showing news that was loud enough to hear, but it was also being spoken in English. And then the camera crew just out there in the Amazon on moment's notice, just that nice kind of series that you guys had back to back, I thought was really smart.
Was that the one that said football or soccer if you're not a commie?
Yes.
I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, we didn't offend anybody with that.
Nope.
Everybody was happy.
Offend people. We are just loved. We're beloved by everyone. The other one that I really enjoyed turned into a little Google search for me, which is the bird fart joke right there, folks. And really, do birds even fart at all? Don't look it up. Don't look it up. Don't look it up. Damn it. And so then, of course, I looked up, can birds burp or fart? Which
I don't know if Barrett looked it up or not. Actually, I didn't ask him. I'm kind of curious now because I wonder if he looked it up and then decided, oh no, and then that's when he came up with his.
So here's the instant result with zero research. Birds have an anus and so technically could fart, but to date there's been no official evidence that they do. It's also possible that ornithologists, I might be saying that incorrectly, have missed bird farts because they leak out passively rather than one eruption, or birds could be burping to release unwanted gas instead.
There you go.
That's that.
They don't eat like a lot. They don't really eat meat and stuff like that, though. So I mean, they might not. Like they might not build up gas in their system.
There are certainly birds that eat meat.
Well, that's true. There are. I guess those. I guess specifically those birds. I don't know that they did.
They call them the farting birds. The birds that eat meat.
Yes.
Like vultures and buzzards. And those would be birds. Yeah, I wasn't thinking, but yeah, never mind. Go on.
So were you done, Danae?
Hey, I think ending on a bird fart's a great place
fair
to
enough. Me walking out of a movie theater after thoroughly enjoying The Gentleman in January 2020.
Yeah.
After this year's off to a great start. Just beautiful. And then
after I saw that sin, I was like, wait, that did come out in 2020. Holy crap.
Sure did. Ultimately, it's a tale told by an idiot full of salsa in fury, signifying nothing. I really like that turn of a phrase. Therefore, Gabby should not be fogging up this glass with her breath. I thought that was a good observation.
That was good.
This is not, there are some sins that they make me giggle because every once in a while we just throw something in that's very simple and stated very plainly. And this is the case with this one where the narrator just said, this is not something a GPS device would ever do. And it just, for whatever reason, really made me laugh.
Thank you. So let me tell you, can I tell you about that one real quick?
Sure, yeah, please do.
So I wrote that in there, and I don't remember. I'd written a few other things, and then I was just like, you know what? I think this is funny. Barrett sent me put a really nice note by it that says, when I first read this, I didn't like it at all. But but he was just saying because he thought it was so matter of fact, like we couldn't use it. And he's like, but then I kept reading it, and I was like, yeah, no, I think this might work. I was like, yeah, exactly. I was like, it's
that
like
we do that. I like that we do that.
It's like the dogs don't talk, that kind of thing. It's like, but it was really nice and good criticism.
Boston fans, of course, I love that one. It's like the Battle of Endor had sex with Fern Gully, the last rainforest, and produced a thoroughly disappointing offspring.
Yeah, that was such a sick burn.
We both had Fern Gully references in two different spots,
of course,
which was kind of funny. Yeah,
Jonathan,
I've never even seen Fern Gully.
Jonathan, what about you?
You guys did a lot of them. Referring to Scrat as the Despacito of animated characters, I really liked. Joel really needs to calm down.
Calm down.
That one, and doing Welcome to the Jungle, that you're going to die was just outstanding. And yeah, no, those are the only ones I had that you guys haven't already mentioned. But yeah, the Gentleman, the Brazilian nuts, all that was hilarious. It was a fun one to do.
Definitely. Speaking of fun ones, Enemy of the State. This was an OG Atkinson Scott script. Chris and Jeremy writing on this one.
I need everybody to just like tweet this one out. Like I just need everybody listening to like tweet this video out and get, because I mean,
so good.
It's one of my favorites in a long time.
It's very funny. Very, very funny
that I
stuff.
had nothing to do with.
Chris and Jeremy both had thoughts. Why don't we take a listen to those before we have our own?
Okay, and I just read these in the order that they come to us, not in order of who's more important. So we'll start with Chris and then Jeremy, and then if they have opinions about that, they'll let us know later.
No, they don't listen.
I know, that's the point. Enemy of the State came out in 1998, but it has some prescient things to say about surveillance technology and government oversight of it that will come into play after 9/11 and culminate with the revelations of Edward Snowden. I love Tony Scott movies, but you can see directors like Michael Bay being directly birthed from his films. And then in parentheses, the Jerry Bruckheimer Don Simpson connection is correlated. You guys know I'm going to mispronounce words. Just go with it. Okay, Gene Hackman.
Pretty right. It's Bruckheimer.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Or it is Bruckheimer. There's no N. I always put an N in there.
I don't know. We'll just move on. Gene Hackman's second Tony Scott movie after Crimson Tide, and this one plays on his Harry Call character from The Conversation, which is one of the best aspects of this movie. Mm-hmm. The dumbest thing for me is how this plot gets started. Jason Lee is a nature photographer who just happens to have a camera aimed at a dock where a congressman, played by Jason Robards, is killed by Jon Voight. He doesn't know what he has until he gets home, and then he realizes people are after him, so he runs all over DC and finally into a lingerie store where Will Smith just happens to be shopping for his wife. Smith doesn't seem to recognize that Jason Lee is in distress and casually gives him his card, which gives the government their only lead the entire chase. I also hated how the tape gets destroyed a little over halfway into the movie, meaning they'll need to get Jon Voight's confession somehow. This makes Gene Hackman important in this movie, but they don't do anything clever with him once he's pulled into the action. Yeah, he plants bugs on the bad guys and they deserve it, but when that backfires, Will Smith has to lead the plot into a ludicrous shootout at the end, and all the intelligence of the movie goes out the door.
Yep. What did Jeremy have to say?
Jeremy said, Enemy of the State is a fucking blast. It is one of the most watchable movies of all time. Everyone I know enjoys it on some level, despite the fact that it is, in many ways, hot garbage. Particularly the plot, as Chris mentioned, and how everything kicks off. There are so many contrived events here that it could get frustrating if everyone wasn't acting their asses off. Will Smith is charming as usual. Regina King, Jon Voight, Gene fucking Hackman, they're all eating it up in this movie. Then you have the gang of will be a lot more famous later kids like Jack Black, Barry Pepper, Jake Busey? Sorry,
Busey, you got
Scott
it.
Busey, it's Gary Busey's son.
James
Caan's son.
Thanks, guys. Jamie Kennedy, I know how to pronounce that one, and Seth Green.
It's actually Greené.
Shut up. It's a who's who of people you didn't actually recognize if you saw this in theaters. That's the least part of why it's so watchable, just to see who is going to turn up next. The dumbest thing in my eyes is when they ransack Will Smith's house and they make it look like a robbery and steal a bunch of shit, including all of his suits except for one. He's a wealthy lawyer in DC and probably has dozens of suits, but he doesn't think the one suit they left behind is suspicious at all. And of course, he puts it on and it ends up being bugged all to hell and back. What a dummy.
I don't know that I need to add anything. They pretty much hit everything I would say about this movie. It really is fun to watch, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not as bad as a movie like Hackers, where you look at the technology in that movie and you're just
I think this movie's genuinely good. Like, I think this is overall, I think it's a I think I've seen this movie like 100 times.
It's just extremely cinnable, like that's the thing.
No. This was a great one to send. I haven't seen this movie in a while, but I used to watch it constantly. This was actually like one of the first DVDs I ever owned, I remember. Mm-hmm. And I would just watch it all. Yeah, I know.
Digital versatile disc.
It's cunnilingus.
I see.
And bananas.
Whap, whap.
But I'm same. I don't have anything to add. I really enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. This made me want to watch it again because I realized I hadn't seen it in a while.
Me too.
And I remember at the time too, like I hadn't seen my my girlfriend who doesn't know it yet, Regina King. I hadn't seen her in a while, so I was really excited she was in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I just love Regina King. She's awesome.
Well, Danae, I assume you haven't seen it. I could be wrong because it is an older film, and sometimes you surprise me with those. And also, I know you do like Will Smith, right? Like you enjoy his stuff. So
yeah,
is this?
I don't know what your like thriller intake is. Like I don't know what you enjoy, but I mean I would guess you'd probably enjoy this.
I think you'd have fun.
The way that I was seeing the clips reminded me a little bit of like Jason Bourne, because it seemed like it was sort of like where and again, I'm watching just the Sins video.
No, I understand.
But it's like, satellite zooming in, a party's hunting for this person, and then this person's on the run. So it had that kind of vibe to it so I'm not saying it's the same movie. I'm just saying it reminded me of that intensity of someone being hunted by a government agency using high-powered technology to do so. And so and the chase scenes jumping into places, which kind of happened a lot when I was watching the Bourne movies. Like he's kind of jumping in and there's like these interesting kind of chase scenes and stuff. So it sort of reminded me of that a little bit. And I found myself watching the video, as always, to kind of go, ooh, what happens next? How does this movie, end or whatever? And only to have it end with him being safely guarded under a table, being protected by a tablecloth. So that was interesting.
I think you're right about the look and stuff of it, because I think, and Chris mentioned it a little bit in his thing, but I do think like Tony Scott, I don't think people realize like how much people have taken from Tony Scott. Not in a bad way, just in the way that like they really liked him as a director and they liked his style. And so they've used a lot of that. I think Michael Bay was definitely influenced by Tony Scott. And I think, Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich, and maybe Dean Devlin too. Who knows?
Kind of reminded me of like, sometimes a really fun story to watch play out is when you think it's going to happen and then just something else happens. Like you've got one guy who could be the central person of this entire movie because he's the one with this video, but then all of a sudden he's dead. Okay, so then it's this person, and then you think he's going to go this direction, but now he's going to go over here with this other guy, and this other guy's now part of it, and so it's like you don't know what's going to happen, or and that's kind of the fun of watching, I think, a movie like this. So I agree. I think this might be one that would be fun to watch, although Cinnable. Especially
Absolutely.
You guys all saying how much fun it is to sort of experience. And even though it seems like it's a little ridiculous with the ending, I can kind of imagine that if I was to watch this, not knowing how it was going to end, but for him to lead them into a video trap where, I don't know, that seems kind of clever to me. Even though it's ridiculous too.
Sure.
Also, for anyone out there who has not seen The Conversation, I also recommend that highly. The same level as Jeremy and Chris. That's one of my all-time favorite movies, actually. So, huge recommend.
But as somebody who is watching the sins of it, like starting off with the whole pills dissolving in water thing, I've never thought about that before. But that's so dumb. Like, that is so dumb.
Yeah, you can't plant pills and then push somebody into the water. That's not going to work.
No, that doesn't work. I guess you'd find the pill bottle, but there isn't any reason to spread the pills out. Like, keep them in the bottle. Or no, I guess you wouldn't want to keep them in the bottle because then they would really... anyway, I'm really bad at plotting to kill people. So if you want to keep going, I can keep going on some of the ones that...
Yeah,
absolutely.
The rearranging of the letters into the same old story, New Hampshire. And then the whole, like, how pointing out, like, I took the time to do this and I will not have nothing to show for it. Just kind of like forcing the sin to work. Right. That is such a fun one, I think, for us writers who know the feeling of writing something and trying to make it work and figuring out a way to make it work. And then you kind of hit this place where you're like, how am I going to get this into the script? You know what? I'm just going to say, fuck it. This is going into the script,
I just like how things evolved to where it's now we're sinning them for actually being correct, but we had to waste our time. Like there was something like when I had a sin I took out, but Aaron and I, we were doing The Boys, like when he gave the definition for transparency, I was like, oh, he screwed, or translucent. I was like, he screwed that up somehow. And he didn't at all. And I almost wrote a sin like,
but I had to take the time to do it. Yeah. It is fun. It's just,
but people would have seen right through that, Jonathan.
It's just the evolution of writing is just it's a fascinating thing. It's an ever evolving thing.
Yeah.
I loved the delivery of like the Oprah line and like, and you get to be famous, which is the one that Jeremy referenced when he was talking. Just that one made me really, really happy because I knew who those people were, and it was just kind of, and then it like cuts off before he keeps going. So it's just kind of, why is this turkey on fire? Cock curtains was another one I loved. The whole pointing out that there's so many cameras, so why would you go into the store? It was like, it's because nobody makes hot dogs like this gas station.
Yeah.
Like, gotta go in here. So, and then I already mentioned the tablecloth delivery at the end was really, really great.
Yep, I love that one too.
I could be wrong. I thought he actually went in that gas station on purpose, but I guess clearly I'm wrong because, like I said, I haven't seen the movie in a while. But I remember when I first watched that, I was like, I thought he actually went in there to get put on camera purposely. But I guess no, it was just a stupid thing the movie did.
Jonathan, what about you?
Yeah, Danae named a lot of them. I mean, we didn't mention the Christmas movie thing. Oh my God, that was. I'm sorry if I took that away from you, Aaron. That was.
Oh no, I just figured all of us had that one down. It's so funny. Yeah.
That's one of my all-time favorite running gags already.
When it's like that's like Christmas.
Yeah, I like how he kept doing different ones. Christmas movie. He just do it real quick.
And then, did he sing one?
Oh yeah, he did all sorts of fun stuff.
He sang yeah.
And then I love We Got You movie. The loss of friends was worth it. And that was, I mean, and then I think everything else. Oh, and then the Regina King thing, though, I did like that. You see movie, you had Regina King in 1998 and you didn't know what to do with her.
Yeah.
I thought was very fitting. But anyways, no, it was just a great video. Like, I was just laughing really hard through the whole thing. So.
Yeah, you guys mentioned most of them. A couple more. I will just say that's why they have a kid named Errol now. It was supposed to be Error, but his father messed up the birth certificate too. It was great.
What's weird is I had that one written down, but I couldn't remember why I wrote it down, so I didn't.
That'll happen to me sometimes too. I've started cutting and pasting the actual sins from the script. So instead of just taking notes so that I remember what they are. But how stupid do all these contestants have to be to have negative $8,000 and be this neck and neck with their horrible play?
I almost looked that up because I thought there had to be something like that was an in joke or something, but I didn't take the time to mess with it.
That was
Not
very
that
strange.
It's still a sin regardless, but I was just
strange.
It made me very curious. Like that has to be on purpose.
Well, the only thing I wondered is if there was a music video for Weird Al's "I Lost on Jeopardy," and if that was from that.
No, there is, but it would have looked older than that, and he was in that video. He was one of the contestants. No, there is totally a video for that.
Because that's the first thing that came into my mind was "I Lost on Jeopardy," which made me laugh. All right, let's move on to keeping tabs.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
Oh, jeez.
This is the most public yet of my many humiliations.
We're each going to tell a story from putting together the week's content, maybe a Google search, some strange research, a deleted sin, how to pronounce Seth Green, whatever the case may be. I think, Jonathan, you mentioned you were going to talk about capybaras. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was something I did some research on. I was just curious because I didn't know what it was. And so first I typed in, what the hell is that animal with Jenny? With Jenny, right? Because we did Jenny and the Tramp. I was like, what is that animal with Jenny in the ice cream video? And I immediately had all this stuff on is it capybara?
Mm-hmm. Capybara.
So, so I just wrote some stuff down, but I didn't really end up using a lot of this. We just went with the more, like, I just ended up going with the, I don't know why this is in the video, but I don't know that I want to know. But yeah, it is the largest rodent. It's twice the size of a beaver, which apparently it gets mistaken for a beaver, which I didn't think it looked anything like a beaver.
I didn't think it did either.
But I guess just because it's big.
Right.
But what I thought was weird, they're basically in South America. So I don't even know, like, they're not even regional to where, like, Black Pink is. But I'm sure, zoos have them and stuff like that. They're also known to be in Florida, though. That's like the only other place. Sometimes you'll see them. They're closely related to guinea pigs and rock cavies. I don't know what those are. Mm-hmm. They are strong swimmers like beavers. They get eaten by jaguars and pumas quite frequently. And but my favorite thing was they also eat their poo in the morning. And the reason they do that is because that way they can digest their protein twice.
Yeah, who doesn't? Mm-hmm. Makes sense to me.
I mean, is that abnormal?
No, I think most everybody does that.
You guys are part capybaras. Hey, real quick before I go, though, I did want to point out, though, because you guys actually didn't do this, but when I was writing earlier while we were talking, and because I was just thinking, like, I think there's a couple things that Aaron and Danae might say on the Enemy of the State video, because you guys say these things when Chris and Jeremy do a video together, and so I wrote some stuff down.
How many did you get?
But none. You didn't say any of them. I was very upset.
You had like a Aaron and Danae bingo.
Yeah, because I had the whole Danae. I thought about quitting. Might as well quit now. And then Aaron saying something along the lines of, "This is why they're the A team," or "This is why they're the OGs."
Holy shit, that's so true. Like that's legitimately something that we just would have said.
I just remember watching the video thinking, this is so great. I was like, they're totally going to say this crap. So I wrote it down. Because then if you had said it, I was going to be like, look.
Look what I wrote down.
Now I will call out my failure.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I love that you know us that well.
I did say OG, didn't I? Did the OG crew doing it? I think I did say OG.
Yeah, you did say that.
I think you did.
Yeah.
But you didn't say this is why they're the
right.
You always see some
yeah.
variation. You say that some variation on that a lot. And you're correct. I mean, that's ridiculous that Dave thinks she should quit. But the OG thing is always correct.
I like that you clarified that when you said that's correct, you weren't talking about Danae saying she should quit.
Yeah.
Laugh. I can just imagine a world where you're like, I mean, you guys are correct. And Danae's like, aw.
She's like thinking about it all night. Like, did he mean that?
Danae, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I had a few that I thought were fun. And they were all for Phineas and Ferb this week. Figuring out the Atonium. There's like this moment when they're kind of bouncing around the world, and we get to see all these different places. And one of them is when they bounce. I think the final one is they bounce at the Atonium. Atomium in Belgium, and then there's like next stop Paris. So I had to kind of look away how far away those things were.
Right.
And that was a lot of like, it was just really interesting. But there was like this one particular place that was shown, and it's just a split second on the screen, but it's all of these. It looks like a future town where there's a layer of like land almost over the top of our the actual ground with these sort of tubes going down into it. It's really futuristic looking. And I looked up several blogs to figure out where is that. I've never seen that place before. And there were a couple of blogs of here's the places that they bounce, which were the obvious ones. It took me quite a lot of research because I had to find it on my own of Futureland, and I think I found it. I think it's supposed to be Dongtung, China. Dongtan, which is a really interesting and fascinating research. So the article I think that I was reading from was from 2009, where basically they're trying to put together this future world, which, spoiler alert, still hasn't happened, which I was super bummed about because I was like, oh my God, is this place real? It was supposed to be 3/4 the size of Manhattan, and it was going to be growing in phases, only allowing 10,000 people, then 25,000, up to 500,000 by 2030, according to this article that I was reading from 2009. But over on the Wikipedia side of things, that was updated to say a different timeline. I think 2050 was one of the goals. But just real briefly, the city was planned to be an ecologically friendly, zero greenhouse emissions transit and completely self-sufficient in water and energy with the use of zero energy building principles.
Wow.
The high performance buildings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so proposes to have the only green transport movements along its coastline. People would arrive on the coast, leave their cars behind, traveling along the shores as pedestrians, cyclists, or sustainable public transportation vehicles only, and they would only be powered by electricity or hydrogen. So the pictures of like the development, I've only been able to find like, hey, here's a big boulder that has the name of the city on it. But it's super bummy because it's such a cool idea.
Oh, that's interesting.
That it would be like so energy efficient. And I immediately was like, oh my gosh, I want to live here. That sounds really, really cool. Because they wanted to like plant trees like on top of things, and people it was just this really cool thing. So that was my search.
That's
was learning
really
about
neat.
Dongtan, China.
That's kind of like, that makes me think about like how Walt Disney would because he died before they built Epcot, and I guess most people know that Epcot was supposed to be like a city. It was supposed to be like a self-sustaining, like futuristic, like, city that people could live in.
Oh yeah, here's another. So it said if the energy plan it's ambitiously green, sources energy from combination of solar, wind, and biofuel and recycled organic matter. There's no landfills that were planned for Dongtan. The waste would be composted, processed, and reused. Rooftops would be green with vegetation, which provides the insulation, and only clean fuel cars would be allowed on the island, and the abundant public transportation will run on hydrogen fuel cells.
So people would live there, but they would have to keep their car, if they had to have a car to work somewhere else.
It has to be, If they arrived in a car that wasn't approved, they have to leave it on the coast, and it's basically just like it was supposed to be an experiment that still hasn't happened. Because here it is,
usually
2020.
Experiments where you put a bunch of people on an island, that usually works.
I've heard that's always a good idea.
Yeah, every movie I've seen, it's always a happy ending. So
yeah, good point. I have a couple things to mention. I will do this because this was just kind of a research thing into Phineas and Ferb's running gags, because we did that sin removal for all the fun running gags they do in this show, and they have so many.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to see how many they had, and so I just wanted to mention just a few of them, which you may know, especially if you're a fan of the show. One of them being that Ferb very rarely speaks. He usually has one line per episode. What you doing is Isabella's main line, and other people have said that as a fun thing. I know what we're going to do today is the Phineas line that is in almost every episode, and other people have said that. Where's Perry? Oh, there you are, Perry, is something that's in most episodes. Some sort of thing that they're doing, somebody will accuse them of being too young. Like, aren't you too young to be doing such and such? And then Phineas's answer is usually yes, we are. And so that's in a lot of things. Ferb getting cut off mid-sentence, even though he says very little. Oftentimes he'll get cut off with the things that he does say. The bird running into their inventions. Anytime they invent something, there's a bird that runs into it. That starts from the very first episode.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
There's a evil jingle for Doofenshmirtz that changes throughout. Where it's like, Doofenshmirtz, something incorporated.
So that's what he's doing on the piano or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And let's see. There's so many of these.
That's in a different episode. Sorry. You haven't seen that yet. Maybe you will by next week.
Mistaking Doofenshmirtz for a pharmacist is something that happens a lot, which I think is hilarious.
That is funny.
And then there's this thing that happens with Perry the Platypus where he will take off a disguise and they'll be like, a platypus? Perry the Platypus? And it's in several episodes. And it's very, very funny. So
is his daughter, what is his name? Doofenshmirtz?
Doofenshmirtz, I think.
Is his daughter, is she a recurring character as
Vanessa,
well, I guess?
I think, yeah. I think she's in several episodes.
But I couldn't figure out, like, is she supposed to be like Candace's age, I guess? Is she supposed to be or is she supposed to be older?
A little older. I think a little older than Candace. More like an adult daughter kind of thing. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was that somebody in our Discord said, here is your word of the day. See if you can sneak it into a sin. And I did that. And that was in the Bob's Burger script. And the word is acrasia. And it means to do something that is against your own best, something that would go against what's good for you, something against your best judgment that you would do.
That made it in, though, right?
It did. I said, why in the name of...
I had to look it up because I didn't know what it was.
Why in the name of acrasia are you delivering a burger to the crematorium during a controversy about you using their bodies of meat?
I thought you had misspelled something at first. I was very confused, and so I looked it up.
Well, here's the thing. I think it is misspelled in the script. I think it is spelled... I think it is spelled Arcasia, A-R-K, instead of Acrasia, A-K-R. And so...
Oops.
So it was like, yay, you snuck it in, except you blew it, buddy. So I wanted to mention that as well. All right, let's move on to the comments section.
I want to know what you're thinking.
I appreciate your honesty. You're a real straight shooter.
You are the ones who are the ball lickers.
We're each going to take a look at some comments, some of our favorites from the videos or Discord or wherever we're checking out what you have to say.
What you doing?
What you doing?
I'll start with a you done messed up, Ron, because I wrote this in about the lyrics test the balls, which apparently it doesn't say. Apparently it says test the bounce. So thank you, comments, for pointing that out several times. Completely ruins the sin, so thanks. I appreciate that.
Oh, no.
It doesn't completely ruin it, but yeah. And then I wanted to mention Fancy Tuna with the Rio 2 video said, writers in the first movie, let's try our best. Writers in the second movie, look, hot bird with hair. And I thought that was very funny and a good summary of the two movies. What about you guys?
I had from the music video sends, Drake Drizzy asked, is there a new guy? He sounds different. I just thought that was funny.
Oh, shit.
And then from the Bob's Burger, Dariune said, Archer looks weird in this episode, which I thought was really funny. So I had those two.
What about you, Danae?
So I tweeted out a link to the map conversation from last week and got some great comments on Twitter. So if you are interested in maps, Kit Gaston has a nice series of more map nerddom available for you.
Is that what you tweeted this today? Is that what you tweeted out today? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And part of the series of tweets was this one that says, bonus fact, you can usually tell if a map of the U.S. is projected or not if the state lines of Washington, Idaho, Montana, and North Dakota are flat or curved into a smile shape. Another bonus fact, the Earth is round, but it's not actually a sphere like most globes. It's an oblique geoid.
Oh,
of course it is.
Just wanted
but the Earth's flat, right?
I've got your oblique geoid right here.
Aren't we all Flat Earth Society members?
Yes, of course.
That part, it's a prerequisite for working at this job. Oh my God! Also, did you guys wouldn't know this. I was gonna say, did you see? But you wouldn't have seen this. Do you remember last week when I was talking about Cereal Girl? From the cereal conversation?
No.
And she was the one that like tried all of those IP cereals?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Apparently she listens to BTS.
Oh, fun.
It was like, yeah. So then we had this back and forth conversation about. Yeah, we had this back and forth conversation about cereal. She was cracking up. She was like, "Oh my God, I listened to your show." Blah, blah, blah. I was like,
so
"Holy
funny.
crap!" It was really cool.
Yeah, I've had a couple of people be like, "Hey, thanks for shouting out my tweet," and I'm like, "Oh, that's you," because sometimes they have different Twitter handles than.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. So we love your interaction.
Thank
you.
And
it's extra exciting whenever you think that you're just reading some random person on YouTube, but they also listen to our podcast.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's unexpected. I wouldn't think that would be the case, but it is. So it's awesome.
Well, or I guess they could watch it on YouTube too, right? Because we're on YouTube.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Cereal Girl, as I'm sure you're known in your real life. All right, we will head on.
Also, Christian Shaw is a horse.
We will head on to Beyond the Sins.
To infinity and beyond.
Somewhere beyond my wild history.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
We're each going to chat about something else from the pop culture world that we've seen recently. I'm going to start, and this is a little bit of a strange one for me because I'm going to talk about the animated show Drawn Together, which I just realized was on CBS All Access because, we are paid by them, obviously, to talk about the stuff on their site.
Was that a Cartoon Network or Comedy Central?
I believe it was Comedy Central.
I think you're right.
And I think that's why it's on CBS All Access, because I know they've put a lot of the Comedy Central stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I think it was on after South Park or something.
It was on for 3 seasons, and if you don't know the concept of this show, it was basically a reality show, like a Big Brother / people live in a house together kind of thing. But the concept was, obviously it's an animated show, and it was animated like, I'm going to say stereotypes, but what I mean by that are like cliches, like the idea of, one of them was like a Disney princess, and another one was like a Betty Boop, and another one was like an anime character. And so they were forced to live together in this house, kind of like a real world situation for animated stereotypes. And I found it so clever and so funny. It was also very, very raunchy, and a lot of it was bleeped and blurred and that kind of stuff on Comedy Central. I don't know for sure if it is on CBS All Access because I only watched a little bit of the first episode, and I just thought I would mention it because I think it went under a lot of people's radar that might enjoy this kind of thing. I can see this being the kind of show that would be really more successful today in a world of like Archer and those kind of comedies that have come since then, but at the time I think it just missed a lot of people. So I wanted to mention it. It's called Drawn Together. If you're offended by stuff, it will offend you because it's definitely one of those shows that goes to places. So yeah,
I'm telling you, man, CBS All Access. I mean, we're seriously not paid by them.
We should be.
That is an under the radar streaming service, though. There is just a ton of interesting content on there.
You know what they did in the last couple months, which is the reason a lot of this is happening, is they finally realized that they needed to conglomerate all of their ownership into there. Yeah. So you've got the Comedy Central stuff, you've got the obviously the CBS stuff from the network, but then MTV stuff like the Challenge that we mentioned, they put on there. Like they've gone, hey, we're Viacom, we own all these properties. Why aren't they all in the same place? And that's really what's kind of launched them to this next place.
It was also funny too, because my wife was like griping in the kitchen one day, and I was like in the laundry room, which they're right next to each other, and she was just like, I thought what she said was, why do we pay for CBS All Access? So I thought she was complaining about the fact that we had it, but what she was actually saying was, why do you have to? She was saying something about why, because she was trying to find this one season of RuPaul's Drag Race, and the only way she could watch it was on CBS All Access. So then I discovered she didn't know we had it. So I was like, wait, no, we have that. She's like, oh, we do? Okay, cool. Then she was all excited. I thought I was about to get in trouble for like having a streaming service, because I thought she was complaining, but she was complaining that she couldn't watch it, she thought, without buying it like from Amazon.
Right.
Because we didn't have, because she didn't think she had access to CBS All Access. I was like, no, we totally have that. If you listen to the podcast, you would actually know.
That's right. We talk about it every week.
We totally have that. But
yeah. Anyhow, it's called Drawn Together.
Yeah, no, I like Drawn Together. I think I didn't see like every episode, but I would watch it, like, because I feel like it was like a Friday night kind of thing or something, or maybe they just showed it on for like they reran it.
Yeah, it
was kind of like, because we would watch like the stand-up specials and stuff like that, and then occasionally that would come on afterwards. And
it is 3 seasons.
Being funny.
Yeah, I think there are 3 seasons that they did, and I think they're all on CBS All Access, so you can check it out there. What about you, Jonathan?
I'm going to talk about a weird one. I mean, not a weird one, but I tweeted about this yesterday. But like, I decided to watch. I don't even know why. Because so let's start with this, I guess. So The Babysitter. Did you see The Babysitter?
No.
The Netflix movie?
No.
Okay, so this is a movie that came out a couple years ago. It's like a horror comedy about these teenagers that are in this blood cult. And they're trying to get immortal life or whatever, right? They're making a deal with the devil for immortal life. So the kid that this one person babysits, she's going to get like blood from hell because he's a virgin, and then they're going to sacrifice this other person. And it's just this big horror comedy. I didn't really particularly like it. The only thing notable about it for me was that it introduced me to Samara Weaving. She's the babysitter. Of the movie. She's awesome in it. She's great. Her and actually the kid played by Judah Lewis, they're both really good. And but the movie itself, I don't know. It was one of those things where it didn't hit for me. Like it just didn't hit me in the right place. I didn't laugh, but a lot of people really enjoyed it. So they made a sequel, and it came out yesterday. Actually, it came out on Thursday. So I watched it last night, or yesterday afternoon or whatever. And it's called The Babysitter, Killer Queen. And it was a really weird experience because a couple of things. I don't think I would have even watched it. They released the trailer for it about a week ago, and randomly I just watched the trailer, or it popped up while I was doing something. And the trailer intrigued me. I was like, that's like, they made a sequel to the fucking Babysitter, But then I was watching the trailers, like something about this is calling me in. So I watched it yesterday, and it's really weird. It's like one of those things, for me at least, where the first film didn't land. Like the first film almost feels like it was like an exercise or like a warm up, and then like the second film actually, like everything feels like it hits everything in the second film, basically, if that makes sense from a comedy standpoint. Like, whereas I wasn't laughing at all in the first film, I was dying. I mean, dying laughing. Several scenes in this one. So what it is, basically, it's 2 years later. The kid, played by Judah Lewis, he's still playing him 2 years later. And he's basically everybody thinks he's full of shit. And there was no proof that, and they believe that somebody was trying to kill him, but they don't believe that like the babysitter was behind it and all that kind of stuff. And they don't know if she's dead or alive because they can't find her. And actually, Samara Weaving's role in this movie is kind of part of the fun. So I guess I won't get into that. How much she's in it, how much she's not. But what's cool is Emily Allen Lind, who played Snakebite in Dr. Sleep. She was like, she was the kid that like they went in they recruited. She was trapping the pedophiles and all that stuff. And she's a really, really good actress. And I knew she was, like, in Dr. Sleep, I really liked her, but in here she shines the same way Samara Weaving did in the first one. And there's another actress in this, Jenna Ortega, who I'd never seen in anything. She ends up playing Judah Lewis's soon to, I guess, romantic interest in the movie. She's really good. I heard she just got cast in the new Scream movie. But she's also really good in this. It's got this great cast. And then returning from the first one, Robbie Amell from Upload, Stephen Amell's brother from Arrow, Bella Thorne, Hannah Mae Lee, and then Andrew Bachelor. They all return. Hated every single one of their characters in the first one. Loved every single one of them in this one.
Wow.
It's the weirdest thing, right?
It's quite a turnaround.
Yeah, and I will say, I almost feel like I'm overselling this. It's not a great movie. I'm not even positive it's a good movie, but I had a blast with it. Like, I had a lot of fun with it. It definitely falls apart at the end because it's one of those things where there's like legit world building from what seemed like a pretty much a one note kind of thing. But then when they have to kind of wrap everything up and tie everything together, it kind of falls apart. And so I didn't really care as much about the ending. It kind of ended on a bad note. But I had so much fun, like the hour and 15, 20 minutes leading up to that. I didn't really care that much. And like I said, this was never like something I was in love with. You know, I wasn't like, this is not anything you haven't seen before, anything like that. I mean, it's just a really fun horror comedy. I'm not a gore guy, but the gore in this is so over the top. It's kind of humorous, you know? And like I said, the cast is really good. It hits some really, it even like they call back to jokes from the first movie that didn't land for me, and they totally landed in this one. I don't even get it. I almost want to go back and rewatch the first one because I'm just curious. I will say, if you do have any interest in watching this, you probably do want to watch the first one because I think you'll get more that's going on here because it is a continuing story. Sure. And they're both really short movies, so it's not like, and it's like, it's perfect time of year to start watching stuff like that. There's already even though it's September, there's like I guess a lot of people have decided they're just going to start their Halloween season early because there's even a spooky September hashtag on Twitter going around right now, which I'm all for. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
If we're going to start Christmas in November, we can fucking start Halloween in September. And I haven't really talked much about the plot, but I really don't want to because I feel like that would give stuff away. But basically, Judah Lewis is just playing a character. It's 2 years later. He's in high school. And nobody believes what happened to him. And then through random circumstances, he gets kind of stuck back in a similar situation. But the movie's like, it's smart, it's funny. Even like the non-horror stuff, like the high school stuff is really funny. I seem to be in the minority as far as like, if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, like I think the critic score is like 23%, although the audience was like 86%. And I saw a lot of people talking about how much they couldn't stand it on Twitter. I had a couple people actually comment on my thread saying, really, I didn't like it. Nothing mean, but they were just like, letting me know they didn't like it because I guess they felt like they needed to. But then I saw a bunch of people after, like later in the night, I saw a bunch of tweets of people like, I'm surprised people don't like this. I had fun. So that's kind of the camp I was in. Sure. Like I said, it's like, I gave it like 3 stars on Letterboxd. I'm not saying it's like a classic, but it's definitely a surprise because I never would have thought in a million years I would enjoy, Babysitter Killer Queen. But that's my recommendation this week, or that's my Beyond the Sins.
Danae, what about you?
I decided to go to my Google Play Store and start looking for some new games. It's feeling like an itch to do something new. And usually I look for games that have really high reviews. That's always a good place to start. So 4.7 is usually like, okay, I'll try it if it's a 4.7. Is
that out of 5?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I feel like there's a good reason that it's getting a really high remark. And I found one that I'm actually sort of enjoying. I thought I would share. It is from Cacao Games, Kakao, Cacao Games Corp, called Guardian Tales. And this reminds me of Zelda, where you are a little dudette, little pixel person, and you've got like the little up, down, left, right pad on the left side. Then you've got like some buttons to smash on the right side of your screen, and you're exploring a map and then another map and another map, and you're kind of progressing from map to map to map for a reason. And the storyline is really smart so far and funny and humorous, and the stakes are low when you first start, which is of course really good, just good gaming ideas to have fun story and make it easy to progress. There are a couple things I'm worried about on the game as far as like longevity goes. We'll see how it works out, but there is a guild aspect to it. You can upgrade your equipment. You can summon new characters. There's a lot more that you can do. I'm ignoring all of those features and just running with the character that they've given me to start with. So I'm and the good thing that they do is they put the little red dot by what you need to upgrade. So you don't have to go in and figure it out yourself. It's prompting you when you have something you can do. So I can kind of mindlessly click rather than have to learn a whole new system, because this style of game can get really, really complicated. Just like Summoning Wars, I think, is one that I used to play. Again, a summoning game. This game is actually, the style of game is called a gacha game, where which is I just learned about that. It's like a loot box where you can spend in-game currency and you can buy a loot box and open up randomly.
You saying gotcha? Like I gotcha?
I think it's said gotcha like that, but it's GACHA. Gotcha. I don't know much more beyond just that, but it has that style. So some things about the game are sort of like, I'm not interested. But the visually, it's beautiful. I love the way that this game plays. It's so smooth. And like I said, it's clever and fun. And each map is short enough that I can just like run a map and beat some bad guys up. And it takes me 15 minutes or less. And then I can just like get back to it. Like, it's not requiring a ton of time yet, but it's still in that first stages. The other thing I really like is that I like to do map exploration. So the one map starts off and a bad guy runs across the screen, and it shows you like directionally where you're headed on the map and how close you're getting to your end goal. But there's clearly other paths you can take, including secret paths that I have been discovering that open up totally new ways to go and totally other things to explore. And so there's more to do than just what's obvious to chase after. So there's a lot of thought in this game. A lot of money has obviously been put into this game to create it because, like I said, it's just beautiful. I love the music. So it's really, really cool gameplay, and it's smooth, and I like it a lot. And I just don't know how long I'm going to play it, but I thought maybe you guys would enjoy it. Again, it is called... Let me make sure I get this right because I know I already said it, but I think it's Guardian Tales. Yeah, Guardian Tales. TALES.
Not TAILS.
Do you play these games on your phone, or do you play some of them on your PC, or
this is
just
all
on your
mobile
phone?
gaming for me? Yeah.
Yep, Danae's all about that mobile gaming life.
Yeah, it's just so quick and easy. And I mean, I would love to get back into my PC games. If I do a PC game, it's something like a quick game of solitaire or something. Like it's super mindless stuff that just takes my brain and, check out for a minute.
I downloaded that. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I was just going to say real quickly, there's just so many great mobile games, but I don't usually keep them on my phone for very long. So I'm curious if this one is going to last. The ones that I keep on my phone for a long time, I've talked about in the past, and maybe I can go through those again at some point, but it's probably going to drop off. So I usually will delete them. There's very few that like actually stay on my phone for a really long time. But the cool thing is, like with Google Play, you have an account on Google Play. And one of the games I'm thinking I might talk about in the future, for example, I'd played in the past. And so it just loaded my old game. So, when you clear something off of your phone, if you've got it connected to Google Play, you still have access to your old gaming files. So if I download something that I used to play, I should be able to log back in.
Cool.
Very nice. That's called Guardian Tales. And you can find it on your mobile device, no matter what that mobile device is. And that's a promise. I don't know if that's true. That's a promise. No, just we don't need to research it. We don't need to research anything.
Yeah, sorry, Apple peeps.
If you've got the original Palm Pilot, I bet you could get on there too.
Yeah, if you've got a Windows phone from 2010, you're good.
Absolutely. A Zune. If you've got a Microsoft Zune, I bet you could play it on that too. Yeah, of course. That's going to wrap it up for Behind the Sins this week. Don't forget to make sure you're subscribed and go ahead and leave a comment or rating as well. You can hang out with us on Twitter at CinemaSins BTS is the main Twitter. I am at Aaron Dicer. She is at Danae Says.
DENEESAYS.
And he is at Sam Loomis 13. So for Jonathan Watkins, Danae Hughes, Seth Greené, and myself, we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Send any feedback to bts@cinemasins.com. And be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment. Find more ways to connect by visiting cinemasins.com/BTS.
Close the Twitter, it is so distracting. Open my nuts and get to the show. Time to BTS, oh yes. Time to BTS, oh yes. BTS, oh yes, oh. Well, that'll be in the outtakes. Hi.
Hey, what shirt's that? Is that a Cardinal shirt?
It is.
Yeah, I can tell by the colors.
It's my Cardinal shirt. It's my Cardinal shirt. I'm wearing a Cardinal shirt.
Jonathan will have to go get a Cubs shirt just to balance out
to
the
to counteract. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's not going to be happy when he gets back, Danae.
Do you think he's going to know?
I think he will immediately know that's a Cardinal shirt. Yes.
Are you going to bring attention to the fact that I'm wearing it?
Nope.
Okay, so we'll just see how long it takes him to realize I'm wearing a Cardinal
Sounds
shirt.
like a plan.
How fun. So you can't see when I do this?
Nope. Totally missed
or
it.
This?
Nope. Missed that too.
How about this?
Totally missed it.
Oh, but I got to read that. Oh, yeah. Did you see that?
No. I can't see anything.
Oh, no. Does she have laryngitis?
No, I was just being silly.
You were just kidding? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just like, hello.
That'd have been a fun podcast. I really liked Enemy of the State.
I don't think I've ever seen this movie before.
Take a drink.
And the throat lozenge.
Danae, you legitimately sound like you have laryngitis. Jonathan just sounds like he's trying to be an evil witch. Danae, I think it's officially long enough to say I was wrong.
Ha 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 ha.
I was right.
I think I was wrong.
He thought for sure you were going to notice my shirt.
Oh, no. What about it?
I didn't know if the colors alone would set you off.
Why?
It's a Cardinal shirt.
Oh, I don't care.
We've started broadcasting our morning show to Facebook, and
that's cool.
In order to do that, we both had deleted our Facebook profiles, but we still had a friend who was on Facebook who was an admin for our page for our morning show, and so we had to contact her and then have her share the make new admins of our spouses. And so I had her do that, and my wife was like, why don't you just get another Facebook account? I'm like, I don't want a Facebook account. She's like, well, I don't want to run your admin page. And I'm like, well, I'll run my admin page through your account. She's like, I don't want you on my account. No, she didn't say that. But so the first message she gets when she signed up as an admin to our page is, Justin Hughes has denied admin status.
I didn't know that.
He must.
That's hilarious.
He must have just thought it was an accident or something, and he was just like, "Nope, not me."
How many followers do you have on Twitter? Let's do a Twitter check-in.
Twitter check-in.
I'm getting close to like 1,600. It's not very. It's not that many.
Okay. So you got 1,600.
15. Oh my God. I'm closer than I thought. 1,598.
Ooh, 2 more. Go now. Follow.
A week. Well, it'll be a week. God, I hope I have 2 more in a week. Maybe not. I don't know.
They'll check in a week. It's like, oh, he's gone down 2. I mean, is there anything better, though, than Al Michaels trying to pronounce Denis Villeneuve's name?
Oh my God! Did you see that?
It's the
Holy
best.
crap! I'm so glad you reminded me of that. That was hilarious. I just love. Well, and they were like at that one point. Did you see the point where Miley Cyrus did that commercial and was talking about Al and Michael or Al or whatever?
Yeah.
And he, Miley Cyrus, you can say our names however you want.
Yeah.
It's like an old guy trying to be.
I've
hip.
got no leg to stand on. I think it's funny, not because he's like a bad person or like I mispronounce stuff all the time. I think it's very human. It's very funny.
He's absolutely not a bad. He's an awesome person, but
I just found it really humorous.
They probably get that verbiage like 2 seconds before they have to say it too. So
I'm the one that called Saoirse Ronan Saoirse to her face. So, you know, I've got my own mistakes that I've made.
That's awkward.
I just listened to it again. He's from director Denis Villeneuve.
Well, just they're having to like talk about Dune. It's so weird.
It's like, how did John Travolta pronounce?
Yes, that's another great one.
That's the best one ever. It was it was
Adele Dazeem.
Adele Dazeem, yeah. What is now I can't even remember her name.
Idina Menzel.
Yeah, Idina Menzel.
He's like Adele Dazeem.
Did Rat ever tour with Poison?
I'm sure.
Was there ever a Rat Poison?
Rat
tour?
Poison.
I can almost guarantee you there was.
Oh! Speaking of rats, I had my next D&D session last night, and my players are only level 3, so I'm kind of trying to figure out what to throw at them that they could battle, and have some fun with and like slay or whatever. And I was going through all of the different, things they could fight. And I came across all of these different variations of rats. So they literally fought swarm upon swarm of rats and big rats and giant rats and diseased rats and poisoned rats.
I would have left.
And so, yeah, that was literally last night was just them just
you're
hacking
like so
and slashing.
mean too, because you're like, don't talk about alligators. But let me send a bunch of rats after you. Like, this is hilarious to me, at least. It probably won't be to you guys because nothing I've said is funny today. But on Twitter, whenever I see somebody's randomly talking about playing D&D, I'm like, oh, I wonder if they're playing with Danae. Like, there's there's a high percentage of that. Like, millions of people on Twitter.
No, it's that thing where you meet somebody that's from a town
from
you know
Wisconsin.
somebody else from, and you're like, oh, hey, do you know Roger?
So I do like crazy like horror sequels and stuff. Which is actually going to come into my Beyond the Sins today. I do enjoy stuff like that.
Beyond the Sins.
You like the Cardinals.
Guys, have you heard of sports?
If that was your Beyond the Sins, it would break the internet. I'm going to decorate with some credit card bills and pink slips and just be like the fear of
terrifying.
Debt, the terrifying fear of crippling debt
That's
and
terrifying.
job insecurity.
You should do this, Aaron, where you give them a piece of candy or a couple of pieces of candy and you say, okay, we're going to teach you about debt. I'm going to give you this candy, but it's actually my candy, but you can have it for now. But by the time you get back to the other side of the driveway, you owe me 2 more pieces of candy.
That's right.